Okay. I will go ahead and share my screen. Again, my name is Gerald Tang. I'm the Assistant Dean for Career Integrations, and today's topic will be on job and internship search process. If anyone can give me a thumbs up, you can see the share screen. That will be wonderful. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So I will dive right in if that works for you all. For today's session, we are here to really talking about two main objectives I'm hoping you all can walk away with. One aspect is at the end of the session, I hope that you can describe the 4 elements of a successful job search process, and you will be able to identify at least one job search tool that you can walk away with from today. So hopefully by the end, you'll be able to do more than that, but those are the basic expectations that I will have throughout today's session. Let's dive right in. Many of you may be thinking about your job search as you continue to explore your careers throughout your time at St. Francis College. But you want to think about the mindset of job search as an evolving process, and you want to think about the job search as a sort of taking a class within the college where you actually put in certain types of planning, process, and effort as you are trying to cultivate experiences that allow you to be able to land results. So let's talk about the 4 elements, dive right into that aspect. So the first aspect of the job search, we think about the 4 main components. I call it the 4 buckets area that you want to prepare yourself for in order for you to make yourself stand out, in order for you to maintain your momentum and be able to navigate the job search process. The 4 elements are the exploration sections. You want to explore more about what you're hoping to do. You may be thinking about what your industry you want to pursue or the type of opportunity you want to go for. Then you want to start thinking about how can I prepare myself for that particular industry type or even the job function you want to go into. Once you have that preparation, maybe you start making connections with individuals in that space to understand and network yourself into that environment, to understand how you can prepare yourself, what may be the industry like, and hopefully you can gain experience, right? Experience what the position is about. Some of you may have really great experience and loving that particular experience and internship or job. Some of you may say, you know what, that's not really what I want to do, but throughout the experience, I really enjoy 1 or 2 aspects of it that you may discover that you want to pursue more. Then you're going back to the same circle again, right? From that experience, you may start to explore what that new idea might be, starting to think about ways you can prepare yourself into that industry, then think about ways to make connections, and then obviously, hopefully you can gain experience. So think about this 4 bucket as like a revolving process for you as you continue to navigate your time while you are at St. Francis and also beyond as you continue to launch yourself into a variety of career that you want to go into. The reality is that many individuals have multiple jobs, right? You're not just signing for one industry. You're not signing for one career that you're going to stay in that one company for 20, 30 years. And the reality is many of us have different type of jobs already throughout our time. As you are even thinking about your experiences at St. Francis, you may already have done 1 or 2 experiences outside of the college or while you are at the college. So you are continuing to test out that theory that as you continue to evolve, your career plan might change. And it's very important for you to think about that. The importance of many students thinking about, I need to design, this is exactly what I want to do for my lifetime. And the reality is that that's not going to be the case. So don't put the pressure on yourself and say, I need to decide exactly what I need to do. I always recommend students think about what you want to do now. Think about what to do maybe in a couple of years and start to plan for some of that process and be more open-minded about what that experience might bring you to the careers you want to be in. And the world will continue to change, right? So you want to think about the mindset of how can you start to prepare yourself and start to help yourself to discover what are something that you're really excited to do and start to bring those experiences into work setting. So you can actually wake up in the morning and realize, I really love to do what I want to do and get excited to go to work on those days. So today we're going to dive right into the 4 main buckets and really helping you to navigate what those might be like and understand the overall process as well. Let's start with the exploration stage, right? As you start thinking about what you are thinking about pursuing or applying, you might have some idea what you want to major in. Maybe you have some experiences already working in different work setting or job or part-time gig. Some of you have attended my previous session, might heard of me saying, it doesn't matter what the job is that you worked at before, whether you work in a restaurant business or you're working at, a retail organization, you are gaining experience. And from those experiences, you might be able to start thinking about what kinds of work setting that you truly enjoy, that you're truly excited for. And that's really part of this process you want to think about. And you, as you're working in different environments and get exposed to different kind of work setting, ask yourself that question. Reflect on your past experiences. What kinds of environment that you find it interesting, that you really enjoy? Some people may tell me, maybe I enjoy the people that I work with, but I may not like the environment. Some people may tell me, I really enjoy the company, but the people is something that I'm not sure I enjoy working with. So that's the part that you want to start to unfold, because many individuals want to help you to be successful in what you want to do, but you need to be the one who articulates to many of us to say what you're interested in, what industry you want to go for, and who you are as an individual and what your strengths and skill set that you do want to go into as well. So when you think about that, you think about yourself, what are some of the skills that might you have acquired already? An example of that is your resume, right? Think about your resume, looking back on it. What are some of the bullet points that you put down in some of these experiences that you might have had at this point? Or if you're part of a club or organization, what are some of the things you really enjoy doing? Maybe you enjoy reaching out to members. Maybe you enjoy planning events. Maybe you enjoy organizing programs. Those are things that you want to start to jot down on the piece of paper to start to reflect on these skill sets. These are valuable things you can then help prepare yourself throughout the process to find things that maybe looks like something you have done already that you enjoy doing. Maybe look in the job ad to see, I really find something that is interesting that they talk about that align with something that I already have done, that I feel good about, that I feel like I can do well in some of these roles. Interest is another area that you want to think about, right? Many of us have many interests. Maybe you have one interest that you are pursuing your major because you're interested in something. But that doesn't mean that you only a linear process, right? You might have a variety of interests. So oftentimes you want to think about how else am you excited about that you can start envisioning to bring some of those elements into your job so that you are excited to go to a job and feel like you're just doing that as a hobby, for example. Personality type. We do have assessment, by the way, in our center that allow you to learn more about any of the things I talk about. But personality type would be something, an example of, do you want to work in an open office environment? Are you going to stress out with you work in an open office environment where people are talking around you that you can concentrate? That can dictate by potentially your personality style, your preferences, in which how you might excel in what you do. So certain industry you may be well suited for if you're a certain type of personality type that you can bring in to those environments. But knowing about who you are is important because anyone wants to learn about you in the entire job search process. So that's why you want to think about who you are and what you can bring to the work environment and finding the right environment that works well for you. That gets to the second point of preferred work environment. What type of work setting? Do you like to work in an office setting, sitting in cubicles, or is it in an open office desk, or is it in a fast-paced where customer-facing environment, or working in front of the computers, or someone may enjoy, I love talking to people, maybe working in environments that allow you to interact with clients more. So those are things you want to continue to assess and reflect and articulate some of these skill sets so that can bring that to the environments you want to go for. Think about other things that you also want to think about, right? What other preferences might you also think about? An example of it that I talk to my students about is, do you enjoy 9 to 5? Or you are not a morning person and you really rather to work from 5 to 9, right? It doesn't mean one is better than the other, but knowing who you are, when you will be most productive, might be helpful as you're thinking about going into a new work environment. Finding the organizations or the work setting allows you to become who you are and fit well with your preference and your style. Those are things that you want to continue to evolve and learn as you're going through the overall experience as well. Second part you think about is the career and jobs, right? Now that I'm a better sense of what I am, who I am, what type of work setting I like and enjoy, the next thing you want to think about finding the environment that allows you to bring those elements into the job. So how can you start to explore what kind of job title, what kinds of occupation, what types of role might you be able to go into in any industry type you might be interested in. The best thing to think about is looking at job descriptions. Look at the descriptions of some of these tasks that they're asking you to do. Think about and envisioning yourself, do I see myself doing some of those tasks? Is it exciting for me? Does it seem interesting at all? And or what are some of the qualifications that they're asking for? Sometimes the job description give you a lot of insight about things you want to prepare for. If the industry you want to go for requires certain credentials, certification, training, or they require you to have certain experiences, certain type of experiences, oftentimes they will tell you that in a job description. And you want to think about ways to start to prepare yourself. May not be the first job you want to get to, but you can building your pathway, your option, your steps to get towards that. Okay? Recruiting process and timeline. Always another way you can think about is not every single company going to recruit the same exact way. Some industry recruit earlier when you might see opportunity currently posted. Other industry, you were like, I don't see anything posted. It doesn't mean that they're not actively recruiting, but that just means that they might be recruiting in a very different way. An example I tell students is that if your target is going for a larger size company, when they have a structured recruiting process, meaning that they have some sort of internship programs or rotational programs, leadership programs, or entry-level analyst positions, that means that they're likely going to want to recruit earlier as they want to bring in a larger group of individuals to their organization. And in order for them to bring a larger group, they want to prepare their process earlier so they can bring in larger cohort of individuals for the interview process. Versus many organizations and companies might only be able to hire 1, 2, or 3 positions as the opportunity becomes available. So you want to think about that. Majority of company might hire in the lateral part of it. So meaning that when you think about your job search and your internship search, your timeline can potentially change based on the type of company, the type of environment you want to be in, and the type of recruiting process that these companies might go for. If you think about salary and the location, are you open to be in New York area or outside of New York area? Are you going for domestic or international locations? Those are variables that you want to think about as you're navigating that understanding of it. And the last part that people always want to think about is company values, right? Does the company demonstrate anything on the company website that support who you are? Maybe you're passionate about certain cause or volunteer interest. Ask yourself, look at their Facebook pages, look at their Instagram pages, look at their web pages to see, do they have some of these efforts that maybe you can be able to do while you are working there? I always say to employer, to student also, if you really want to work in a company that are inclusive, look at the company website. Do they look diverse? Do they highlight those inclusive values? They also have all those employee resource groups, for example, that you might be able to connect with and find people who look like you, who just like you, and who are excelling in some of these organizations that you can find support network within. So those are questions you can also start to continue to think about as you're going through the job search journey as well. So how do you do that? That's kind of now that I kind of know what I'm thinking about, I need to prepare for, what do I need to do now, right? So things you start to go to prepare for, reflect on your experiences. If you haven't done it already, I call it the resume audit. Look at your resume, look at your past experiences, start to jot down things that I just mentioned earlier. Reflect on your past experiences. That's a great place for you to also prepare for interview, So you can see where are some of the skill set that you already gained this point from what type of setting that you already had. You can certainly do assessment with any of our colleagues in the office. We do offer Myers-Briggs type indicator and strong interest inventory for you all that you can take advantage of to learn more about yourself and put some lingo to the type of skills that you can bring to the company. Ask others who you know. I always say to job candidates, ask 5 people that you know in your family and friends. Ask them, what are my strengths and weaknesses? What are some of the things that you know that I do well in and things that you know that I need to improve upon? They can be able to tell you the honest truth about things that might be something you need to really pay attention to. Try learning to gain different experiences. It's never too late to start this process. It's always too late if you're just going straight from classes and not doing any experience, because employer want to see a holistic self of who you are. They want to see how you can articulate not just what you learn from classroom, but be able to see you apply some of those concepts in different work setting or organization. So volunteer, take advantage of club organization on campus, or even identify internship opportunity while you're in school, not after you finish a degree, can be helpful as well. So look at Handshake. Handshake has about 3,000 postings right now. Go on to Handshake, type in some of those keywords, public speaking, for example. See what type of job postings actually post some of these elements and keywords into the description. Look at the type of job title, look at type of industry, then that may be a good place for you to navigate and refine your searches from there. Look at job boards outside. Indeed, Simply Hire. At the end of the presentation, I'll give you an example job board that you can also look into as well. Do more informational interview, an opportunity for you to do coffee chat with people in the industry who can be somebody potentially that you want to follow this footstep in, right? Those are places you can also look at as well. ONET or Navigate, you can look at the section called Careers Exploration. You can actually click on that connects to the ONET. So ONET is an occupational outlook handbook that Department of Labor and Statistics actually manage that give you a variety of industry type, future trends, opportunity, and position that you can also explore from there. Attend events. Get to know different companies. For example, MSG is doing a session later on this semester. Enroll is coming to campus. Many organizations are doing information sessions virtually to allow you to get to know who they are. When you attend those sessions, ask yourself those questions. What they're presenting to you, is it interesting to you? The job that they're talking about, the skills that they're hoping you to bring in line with who you are and what you can bring to the organization as well. We also host spring career fairs that is happening in the spring semester that I'll encourage you to prepare for, take advantage of. That's a really great setting. Think about like a college fair where you can go to some of these events, be able to connect with many companies all in one setting. It allows you to make connections with some of these individuals for additional follow-up or even applications. If you haven't done it already, I encourage you to set up a LinkedIn profile, utilize how to use LinkedIn to reach out to the St. Francis College network and alumni in those professions as well. So next stage, besides exploring, now you're kind of learning everything that you might need to prepare for, what you need to think about, what industry type you want to go into. The next thing is think about how you can prepare yourself into that. Maybe you already thought about an industry type or a job you want to go for. The next thing you want to go into is, okay, I really want to get to that job, right? So what do I need to do? So I have to think about how you can prepare for your process. Get yourself set up for a tracking system. Organize yourself. Make an Excel spreadsheet or some sort of tracking mechanism that can keep track of what company you apply for, what type of position you apply for, when did you apply for it, how did you apply for it? Is it through Handshake at St. Francis College? Is it through external website? Is it through a referral, a friend of yours, or a faculty member refer you to a position from the college? Jot those down, because that can give you a more organized format to track some of these applications. Next thing you want to prepare for, resume, cover letter. Those are things that you want to prepare to get yourself ready as you're applying for some of these opportunity positions. On Handshake has resume guide in there, cover letter workshop. I'm doing one later on in this month. I encourage you to attend that as well. Also Google yourself. What may be impressions? What kinds of things that people can see, can find you online? What type of impression that may you present yourself so far to some of these organizations? If somebody, a recruiter, just Google you on, on the website. Prepare for interview. I always say, think about your interview as something that you should be rehearsed and prepare and be confident about. Ask yourself that question. Are you ready to answer the question? Tell me about yourself. Why are you interested in this opportunity? What can you bring to the table? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Those are things that every employer is going to try to assess you to learn about who you are. So you want to be able to articulate some of those elements and how you can present yourself in a precise, well-articulated format. If you are on a particular visa status at the college, knowing about your work authorization is always important. Knowing the regulations and challenges that you have to experience, but knowing and preparing yourself to be able to talk about how you can work with the employer to demystify the overall work authorization process. And for those of you who are thinking about a licensure, prepare for your exam. If you think about going in the future to, let's say, med school, or you want to be a CPA, and you're going for any sort of industry that requires you to have some sort of exam, prepare for that, because that might give you a place for you to start to articulate and ways to get yourself ready for some of these industry, and knowing what their application and preparations might you need to go for and when you want to take those exams. Again, keep track of the material. Last thing anyone wants as an employer is to contact you and say, hey, I would love to connect you, let's set an interview with you. And the last thing you want to ask is, so what company you work for again? I don't remember when I applied for it. That's not the first impression you want to make to any companies. You want to feel organized, you want to prepare for it, jot down these information, get yourself ready for it. One quick tip from there, if you're applying for job and internships at the moment, if you're leaving, let's say, your voicemail, your cell phone number, check your voicemail. Did they say your name? Oftentimes when I call a candidate, I don't even know if that's the right person to reach out to if the voicemail doesn't even have your full names on it, right? Is that professional voicemail? Those are things you want to think about, because that, again, is an impression that you're already making from the get-go when somebody really wants to reach out to you to be considered for an opportunity. Is your email, does the email have a signature on it? You can simply say Gerald Tang, student at class of 2024, St. Francis College, bachelor's degree candidate, and then you can put your majors on it. Always sign your name as proper greeting, your full names on it at the end of your email, trying to watch out for writing like a text message. You all know what I mean by that. You don't want to write incomplete sentence, because as an impression, again, you're presenting yourself in front of an employer, so you want to present yourself in the best self when you're going through this application and job search process. So other things you want to prepare for and resources available at St. Francis College, Handshake. Like I mentioned to you, under the Handshake portal, if you click on the Career Center tab on the top, you will see that there's a bunch of resources. There's a resource tab that we already posted into the system. So resume guide, cover letter guide, interviewing guide, we will be putting that. By the way, I already posted 100 interview questions inside that you can practice yourself as you're going through that overall process. That information is already on Handshake. We have a LinkedIn profile checklist in the system that you can use that to help build on your LinkedIn profile. And then you can use that as a way for you to make connections with St. Francis College alumni who might be in the industry you want to go for. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, there's job postings in the system, and there's also company information. If you go to the Employers tab, you can actually sort out the list of employer by industry type or by position type. That's a great place for you to get a sense of who do we have connections with, what are some of the companies who have an account with St. Francis College prior, might have posted an opportunity with our college, with the Career Center prior to, at this moment, or some of the active posting even, you can see that through that particular tab. Like I mentioned earlier, we do offer interviewing workshop, resume writing, cover letter writing that's coming up, networking workshop, LinkedIn, and more. We will continue to allow you, to prepare you for any of the job search elements as you're going through your journey as well. We have speaker series, we have career spotlight series. We also promote many other speakers coming to campus, both virtually and in person, for you to make connection to, and also career fairs, networking event that we also host, allow you to meet professionals from the industry you want to go into. And my tips for you all will be going to those events, whether or not it's something that you have never thought about or something you might be interested in. Hear what they have to say about the industry and the job that they do, and maybe ask yourself the question, do I see myself doing that work? How did they describe how they land their career path to get to where they are today? We also offer resume cover letter review sessions. We do have walk-in hours on every single Thursday between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. That's the time for you to come in for asking any questions that you might have to any one of us without an appointment. If you do want to set up a one-on-one appointment, schedule them through Navigate to connect with any one of us to discuss your own career plan, your own job search plan as well. We also offer career advancement sessions to help you clarify any of the things I just mentioned at this point on how you can navigate your job search and create your own plan and actions on how you can prepare yourself for your job and internship search. Networking is something that is so fundamental and so important in the job search process. You want to develop relationships. You want to make connection with people in the industry, because those can be your business connection. Those can be people that you can stay in touch with through your career and through your professional journey as well. Learn about opportunity, because networking, when you get to know people, you can start to hear more about how they get to where they are and some of the lessons learned from them on how you might be able to avoid some of the roadblocks and challenges they experience, and get advice on how you can go about preparing yourself as well. Many of them might give you some inside information. Hey, you want to watch out for how you can prepare for this interview, or hey, you want to think about how you can, upsell your skill set in this particular area, and even learning about industry trends. What are some of the trendy skill sets that the industry is currently talking about that you want to align yourself to talk about how you can bring those skill sets to the companies, right? Oftentimes, I would say many of the opportunities are posted not as a say for public websites only, but they may be already, you may have learned about them through the internal referral process. So you want to make yourself stand out, make yourself known in the industry you want to go for by making connections with people in the industry. So how do I do that? These are some of the areas that you can start preparing yourself. Be proactive in the process. If you know already what you want to go into and the industry you want to go for, start to look into what is on LinkedIn, what's going on in many places that you can learn about the top companies in your industry of your choice, and start to think about following them. Follow them on LinkedIn, follow them on their Twitter pages, some of the social media pages, to see what the patterns of how often do they post opportunity, how often do they talk about certain type of industry and skill set, what kinds of events are they currently posted on their organization website. So you can start to get yourself ready to apply for some of these opportunities. The last thing you want is to apply for a company and you only know about them by doing a research the night before. You want to feel like you actually know who they are, their mission, their work, their product or services, that you feel like you're already part of that. Because that make it easy for them to see that you are serious about the opportunity, that you're ready for those positions. Join groups to meet up. There are virtual meetup groups, even during the pandemic, that you can kind of join those Zoom sections to connect with industry professionals, to connect with people in the community, professional organizations, community organizations, industry organizations. Many of those are available on websites like meetup.com or any other professional group as well. Do a search on Google and type in the keyword professional association, and your industry you want to go for. I guarantee you, you're going to find hundreds, if it's not thousands, of those professional organizations that you can be part of as well. Attending events, show up. It's important for me to get to know who you are so you can see, who you are in many programs and services. You want to be that person who actually show up multiple times in front of an employer, because each time when they see you again, they're not asking who you are, what's your name. They can connect with you in a deeper level to get to know who you are and your personality. So you want to be that person in the job search process to show up and show that you are serious about those opportunities as well. And lastly, like I said to you, sign up for Google Alerts to see what kinds of posting, what kind of company are actually posting the opportunity and when. If you haven't heard of information interview, think about this is a place for you to prepare yourself and learn about. It's a very effective method in learning about the hidden job market. It's also a very effective method for you to make connections to the industry and even the St. Francis College Alumni Network. So basically what that is an opportunity for you to do a reverse interview with people in the industry. So let's say you know somebody, maybe a St. Francis College alumni on LinkedIn. You want to find out more about what they do and how they get to the job they want to be in. And guess what you then do? You reach out to them to ask for meetings with them. It could be a virtual meeting or in person. Before after the pandemic, you can then ask them questions. Tell me a bit about how you get to where you are. How did you navigate that search process? Why did you decide to pursue this opportunity instead of the other? Asking those thoughtful questions to help you to do more, which is about the industry type. Maybe asking about what the culture is like in their organization, what the company structure is like, what some of the industry trends, how do you guys experience some of the transitions during COVID, for example. Those are great questions that you can ask employer and ask professional and mentors about industry that you want to go into, so you can start to prepare yourself what you can then use those information for the interview process, for your application, and gain some insight about why you feel like you're ready for that industry. Okay, so that's kind of in sum what you may want to do. Make an introduction about yourself, reach out to them for a Zoom meetings or a one-on-one conversation, a chat to get to know who they are, and that's a place for you to find those connections as well. So how do you network? When you're making those connections, you also want presenting yourself as well. So you want to make sure that you're presenting your true self anytime you're meeting with a mentor, a professional, a connection, because you just don't know who they know, right? Maybe a St. Francis College alumni working in a company that you might be interested in, but as you go through the conversation, you're like, that's not really it. But guess what? They might have their friends or family members or their fellow classmates work in a company that you are ultimately want to be at. So you want to present your best self and show that you actually are interested in learning about the industry and disciplines. Prepare yourself. Think about how you can introduce yourself. Prepare those questions you want to ask them. And we are here to help you to articulate that. If you say, I'm really not sure how I can do that, come by and talk to any one of us. We can help you to craft those plans. Even look at your questions. If you have a meeting coming up with a mentor in the industry or professional in the industry, we can help you to prepare for some of these meetings as well. The last thing I would say for networking, you don't want to have that hidden agenda in the conversation. I always say you certainly don't want to be that person's only asking for the favor when you reach out to them, right? So think about the same mentality goes to networking. You don't want to be like, hey, I'm really interested in getting to know you, but I ultimately really just want you to give me a job. It's all implied that as a student, they know that you're looking for opportunity, but they want to see that are you spending time getting to know them and their advice. Because people like to talk about themselves. People like to talk about what they do. People like to talk about how they get to where they are, to share that knowledge with you. So your job is to be there to take those information in and start to build those relationships with them. So when you feel like there's a warm contact, You can then ask them for those referrals, and organically that process will happen. Okay? So there are many ways you can do. Professional organizations, if you're not part of any industry group or professional group, start to get involved. Many of us have connections. Your professors may be working in the industry. You can do an information interview with them. Get to know what they're doing in their full-time job, or maybe their work outside of the college. Get to know who they are. Get to know more about the career journey. You might see some really good insight from there. Look back in any of the connections you might have from the school, or many places for you to formulate some of these aspects as well, and also making connection with people that you might already have worked with before, and they can also help you navigate that. So the job search process, apply online. Yes, you should always apply for opportunity online. These are at the application steps now. When you apply for opportunity online, definitely sign up for those alerts, track those applications, send in proper material. Don't just submit something online that no one had looked at before. Make sure that they are all polished and ready to go. If you are graduating or graduated already, then you can look at potentially employment agency search firm as a place for you to start finding those temporary employments or any of those placement agency as well. But one thing to note, never pay for the services. They should be charging the employer, not you as a job seeker as well. Other things you want to think about, direct cold calling, something that can be effective. This is especially helpful if it's a smaller size company. Sometimes maybe just from a referral, from people that you know that can send an interest and say, hey, I would like to create an internship with you. I really find your product and services super helpful and interesting. Perhaps I can be able to pop into your organization to do some work with you or helping you with the transitions or working remotely, for example. That could be a very interesting places for you to pitch for some of these internships for you to create them as well. And some of those can turn into a full-time opportunity once you show that you're valuable to the organization as well. Networking, that should be the most effective time. Spend time on at least meeting with at least one individual every month. Make connection with people in the industry. Trying your best to start to put yourself out there in many places that you want to show up in the industry that you want to go for. Attend events, show up in different forums and places so that people can get to know you. And keep in mind, finding job takes some time. Even in the internship search, on average, it takes 4 to 6 months. But don't be scared. You can do it. I've seen many students have done it before, and many students can be successful in landing those experience. But don't be frustrated if you don't hear any news. Sometimes it just takes longer for a company to go through the entire process itself, and be flexible. If you get a rejection at the moment, don't get defeated. Move on to the next company. Reconnect with some of those companies to see what are some of the feedback that you can gain from them that can continue to improve upon. Maybe next time you can show that what progress have you made since your last conversation. Here's the places with many job websites that you want to look at. I will allow you to take a moment to take a look at some of these as well. Handshake, like I said to you, available for all of you to take advantage of. LinkedIn, if you haven't used it, I encourage you to use them. Use our career guide to help you create your profile, update your material. Indeed, Simply Hire, really great website for you to search for general posting, get to know different companies. If you're interested in PR marketing, Ad 2010 is a great website for publishing industry, careers in publishing, ideal list and USA jobs, government not-for-profit opportunity. If you're interested in the creative sectors, Odd Jobs is a really good website for art-related type of industry. If you're a science person, look at science career, research opportunity may be posted through that as well. Or if related to health sector, Discover Health and Mint, or the Biospace, really good website that you can also look into. If you're interested in things to do with, let's say, film, entertainment, Backstage.com has actually opportunity to post for any freelance gig or audition, things like that you can also look into as well. If you are interested in education, top school jobs, the New York City Department of Education website, Those are places you can also find internship and full-time opportunity as well. Media Bistro, marketing, communication industry that you can look into, along with Mandy.com and journalism job, eFinancial, great website for finance industry. Global job will be focused interested in international opportunity, NGOs, law jobs, obviously, as they say in the title, law-related career. If anyone interested in research opportunity, National Science Foundation, NSF, has a really good list of undergraduate research programs they can also apply for as well. If you're interested in life sciences, whatever sector, life science, NYC has an internship program you can also apply for that work in New York City life sciences organizations as well. If you're interested in public good, workforgood.org is a really great website. And if any of you are interested in psychology, there's also APA, the American Psychological Association, has a really good website for undergraduate research opportunity as well. If you're interested in sports, Teamwork Online and Work in Sports are also great places that you can see what company are currently actively posting opportunity, but you can also see what kind of company that you want to target to create your top 10, top 15 companies that you want to aim for as you're navigating your search process as well. Okay. Lastly, we are here to help you, so feel free to come by for any appointments. I'm available to talk to any one of you during your drop-in hour as well. If you have any further questions, I hope that you can drop in the chat. We can answer some of those questions as well. I think it's a couple minutes behind, so I will stay at the end for answer any questions you may have. If you haven't followed on Instagram, please follow us on Instagram. That will be super helpful. And I will stop the recording. Thank you again for your time. I'll stay for a couple of minutes to answer any questions you have.